Alright, so today's lecture is about sampling for drinking water, or mostly sampling for lead in drinking water. In your kit you have two centrifuge tubes like that, and that's what we're going to use to sample the drinking water. In theory we should use larger volumes, but we'll assume that this works, and in fact it's going to give us some results. So why two? It's because we're going to use a two-flush sampling strategy, which means that we're going to sample one sample in one flush and the other sample in another flush. What we are trying to capture here is the effect of the different piping on the lead contamination in the water, if any contamination is present. So the first flush that you will have to do is a flush that happens when the water was not used for a very long time. So for example, first thing in the morning. So we want you to select a tap. It can be your kitchen tap, your bathroom tap, whichever tap you want that provides drinking water, and we want you to use only cold water. The reason is that cold water comes directly from the city system. Hot water sometimes is warmed in a separate basin in your house or in your apartment complex. So let's imagine that you are early in the morning, nobody has ever used the water, so you're going to do your first flush, which means that you're taking your tube, you open it, and you will sample the first 15 milliliters that come out. So that's what the volume of this tube is. I also want to make sure that you select a tap that doesn't have a filtering system associated. And do not remove the aerator or anything on your tap, just use it as it is if you were to take drinking water. So we're just going to flush, sample the first flush, like that. Very easy. You close the tube very well. We don't want it to spill. You can shake it if you want. That's kind of something I always do with these tubes. And then we're gonna now let the water running for some time, 1-2 minutes. It doesn't have to be much longer. The reason is that we want to flush all the water that is in the pipes that are nearby the tap. So probably the pipes in your house, so that we capture the entire system and the quality of the water that you most likely have when you take water on a regular day. While it's flushing, I'm going to label my sample, and I will label that sample simply by my initials NP and a 1. It's my first flush sample, and then I'll write down the date. In my case, 06/22/2020. Here's your first flush sample. You record also on your sample form, the same as the one for the soils, the time since the water was last used. Doesn't have to be extremely precise. If you sample first thing in the morning, it may be 8 hours. And so we'll write down 8 hours there. And the second sample, you will just, as the water has been running now, it's now capturing the piping that is probably underneath the street. I will take a second flush and the second 15 milliliters sample of water, just like that. Cap it, turn off the water, cold water always, and label correctly, in this case, my initials and P2 and the date 06/22/2020. And that's all there is to do when you're sampling the drinking water for lead contamination. Oh, don't forget, since when was the water used last time? There was probably 1 or 2 minutes only, so I'm gonna just write 0002 for the second flush. And this is how it will come out. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching.